Let's get right into it. We're starting in Matthew chapter 14, verse 25 to verse 33. I'm reading the NIV version. During the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid. Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink. Cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, truly, you are the Son of God. I want you to keep in mind, when I was writing this, and if y'all haven't noticed by now, I write everything. When I was writing this, I was using the King James version for my own studying and writing. So that's why some of these words and sentences aren't going to be the same out of what I just read, but it's all the same word anyway. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Jesus went unto the disciples walking on the sea, but the disciples were troubled and fearful, for they knew not it was the Lord, saying, it is a spirit. But Jesus made himself known. It is I, be not afraid. Peter answered him, if it be thou, he said, if. Jesus has already made himself known by saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. Peter still needed, watch, he still needed confirmation, saying, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. In other words, if you are who you say you are, tell me to come onto the sea. The Lord said, come. And Peter walked on the water. In other words, after all that, he finally walked in what he was called to do. Jesus said, come. He walked. So Peter walked, but in his walking, his focus changed. See, his only mission in that moment was to walk to Jesus. Now, if I tell you to walk to the store and buy a pack of Skittles, I'd expect you to be focused on making it to the store and making the purchase. But if along the way to the store, you set your sight elsewhere and get sidetracked, you will notice friction in your mission. Things won't go as smoothly as they would have. Looking back at Peter, but when he saw the wind, in other words, when he set his sight elsewhere, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. Watch this next part. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand. Immediately he extended his hand. Now let's do a little research. What does immediately mean? Immediately means, by definition, instantly or at once or straight away. So Peter cried, saying, Lord, save me. And Jesus instantly extended his hand and caught him. After saving Peter, Jesus says to him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? In other words, he's asking Peter, why did you doubt? I come and tell you today, do not doubt the Lord your God. We must trust him no matter what. Even if he calls you out into the storm, out in the middle of the storm, go and do what he says, as he says. Stay the course and you will be just fine. And I'm going to close with this scripture right here. The book of James, chapter 1, verse 23 through 24, NIV version. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like a man who looks at his face in a mirror and after looking at himself forgets what he looks like. Do not look in the mirror and forget what you look like. Don't read the word and don't do the word. That's all I got.